Hop in and buckle up, everybody. It's time for another Drive Time Review. I'm Nick from the Cigar Pulpit, and today I'm going to be smoking the Superb Habano from Blackbird Cigars. This cigar is a 6x52 Toro featuring an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper. However, the binder and filler are undisclosed. This comes to us from our friends over there at Blackbird Cigars, and I full disclosure, have smoked this cigar before, but I've never given it an official, full rating. It's one of those things. For those of you who maybe are familiar with this, but not familiar maybe as much with my podcast. So on the Cigar Pulpit, we smoke cigars, and we, every once in a while, like, hey, how's your cigar? That kind of thing. But we don't get into the full deep dive reviews. And so that's kind of what the point of this is to like really give a much more deep dive review of a cigar. And so while I've smoked this a couple times on the podcast, never really gotten fully deep into it. So I figured, you know what? Let's do so today. Uh-oh, I just dropped my lighter. I'm gonna have to unbuckle, and this is gonna be all sorts of unpleasant. Where did that go? Oh no, it's all the way up there. Ah, the fun times we have in the car. Okay, buckle up for safety, buckle up. All right, there was a song. It was like a safety song or something like that. Anyway, all right, so today, let's get this thing cut and get this going. So it's a beautiful day outside. Good day for a drive. Good day for a smoke. And now this one, technically, it's listed on the label as box press. So they have both a round and a box press version available. It's listed as box press, and while the foot has a bit of a squarishness to it, let me tell you guys, this one, the box press did not take. This one is pretty much back to roundish shape, which I prefer. I do prefer a round versus box press cigar. But yeah, I don't know why this is plumped back up, or if it maybe just the box pressing didn't take, whatever, but I'm okay with it. I'm good. So cold draw, this free card. There's a sweetness to the cold draw. There's a dried fruity kind of sweetness, like a I don't know if I necessarily want to identify what fruit, but not because I know or have a thought. It's more I can't identify a specific fruit, but it's a dry fruitiness on the cold draw that's very pleasant. Very nice. So we're gonna get this guy lit, and then we'll hit the road. Okay. Little spot there that, come on, doesn't particularly want to light. Every once in a while, that'll happen. You guys know that. All right. Oh, we are hitting the road. All right. But before we officially get rolling here, let's do a real quick off the foot retro here. So, very subtle earthiness and pepper to the retro hail. The initial flavor off of the foot, when you light this up, the initial flavor to the smoking right off the bat is a bit of an earthy component. You get a little bit of an earthy component, and yeah. So we're trying to figure out who's going to go here, me or the lady. No problem. And always yield to pedestrians. You always yield to pedestrians. But yeah, there's a little bit of an earthiness right off of the foot when you light this guy up. Now, let's get rolling here. And like I said, there was a very subtle pepper to the retro. Very, very minor. The earthy component is really the main thing right off the bat. Um, in the very, very beginning of the Blackbird Superb. How about I go ahead and smoke this through a little bit, and I'll come back to you when I'm a little further into the cigar and have a little bit more to say. So I'm back with the Blackbird Superb, and I wanted to show you the ash because I am getting ready to ash this guy. Nice, firm, solid, well-constructed ash um, on this kind of a light gray color. Uh, very, very well put together cigar so far. And if you can tell, my burn line is really straight. Granted, I'm early in the cigar still, but it's a well constructed cigar. Um, but I wanted to show you the ash before I knocked it off into the ashtray because when you're driving, I don't like to maintain a very big ash because if I nuke myself in the car, it's going everywhere. It's going on my seat and everything else. Whereas, like in the car, I like to keep the ash very well contained in the ashtray. Um, but anyway, so that's gone down. But I will say, in my experience smoking this at home, you can if you're one of those guys that likes to play with your you like to play with your ash anyway. But if you're playing with the ash and trying to do like a long ash deal or something like that, you can accomplish that with the Blackbird Superb. You can play around and get a nice good big solid ash going with it. I just don't want to make a mess of the car. So the flavor wise, there's another flavor that is in this that I didn't identify in the beginning, but it's becoming a little bit more noticeable. So that earthiness is still there. Um, very, and I cannot emphasize just how very subtle the pepper on the retrohale is. That's still there. And then there's a slight dark chocolatey component to the cigar as well. Again, it's subtle, it's there. It's with the earth is definitely the more prominent note, but it still comes together for a really nice experience in the beginning in the first third. So I'll come back when I'm finished with the first third and we're kind of transitioning into the second third. All right, so we're about done with the first third, transitioning into the second third, and the uh, the smoking experience. There's still that subtle earth. There's still that little bit of chocolate. There might be, and it may be chocolate, or it might be a subtle coffee component, but could also be the coffee that I'm drinking. So I'm gonna probably discount that from my review. But there's a tingle to the palate, which is indicating that there is a subtle pepper component to the smoking experience that's kind of crept in. That could maybe be the transition into the second third. Um, it's very light. It's not a like not a strong pepper at all. It's a very, very light, like a white pepper, very, very, very subtle pepper. It's pleasant. It offers a little something, something to the palate, but it's not something that overpowers. It doesn't become the dominant flavor of the cigar. Now I do want to point out, because I'm getting close to the band, because it is a kind of a large band. What's cool about the Blackbird cigar bands, so they have that little bird right there on the band, and that bird, if it works, is a pull tab, and you pop him up, and he's a little pull tab, and when you do that, I have hands off the wheel. You can take it and you can pop the band that easy. Did you see how easy that band came off? Super easy, and it's all because they have that little pull tab there. Now, sometimes, admittedly, the pectin, the glue on the band is a little tighter than that. But what that little bird still does is even if the glue is tight to where the full band doesn't come off like quite that easily, um, it offers a spot for you to get it, grab it, and start tearing it, and then that way the band comes off. Yeah, you gotta tear it at that point, but it still comes off really easily. I wish more brands would consider things like that when they're making their band designs, because some of these bands are just ridiculous to try and get off of cigars. And in the process of trying to remove the band, you damage the wrapper, and that hurts the smoking experience. So, and it's one thing if the band is very small, uh, to where you can get quite a bit of the cigar in before you have to remove the band. And then if it's a tight band to get off, and you hurt the wrapper, you only have a little bit of the cigar left. But like, there are some brands that love these gigantic bands, and if they're difficult to get off, um, you could ruin half the cigar better, by hurting the not ruin, but you could ruin the experience by having a tear in the wrapper for a little while that you have to deal with, uh, by trying to get this giant band off. So I'd say that if you're gonna have big bands on your cigars, this is my message to manufacturers. If you're gonna have big bands on cigars, maybe consider making them very easy to remove. Don't make it a challenge to remove them, because nobody wants that. But but the Blackbird cigars have a very easy to remove band. Um, all right, guys. Well, I'll come back to you when I'm about halfway on the cigar. Give you an update at the halfway point. All righty. So we are at the right about the halfway point of the Blackbird Superb. And I'm going to do a halfway retro hail here so we can get an idea as to what we got going on. The pepper component is definitely picked up. Um, it's not, again, not slitting my throat, not making me hack up a lung, anything like that. But it's definitely resting in the nasal cavity there, and presenting itself. Flavor wise on the cigar, the earthiness has kind of taken a bit of a back seat. Now we are more at a uh, kind of a dark chocolate, not like a sweet chocolate, like a dark chocolate. And also we're at we definitely have that coffee component picking up. So in the second third, we're definitely more chocolate and coffee forward. And I don't think it's not my coffee, because since I was with you last and I mentioned that, and thought it might have been the coffee I was drinking, I haven't taken a drink of it since, as a way to try and get it off my palate. And yeah, it's not my coffee. It's definitely the cigar itself. Um, so yeah, so we have that little bit of a coffee component, a little bit of a chocolate component. Pepper on the retro hail is picked up, and I'll also say that the pepper on the smoking experience, it's still there. It's still very subtle. It's still just presenting as kind of little tingles in the mouth, but it's not presenting nearly as much on the smoking experience as it is on the retro hail. So we will continue with the Blackbird cigar, or Blackbird Superb, and I will be back with you when I get into the final third. All right, guys, we are in the final third of the Blackbird Superb. And I will say, as I was completing the second third, entering into the final third here, the pepper component on the smoking experience is definitely ramped up. So as you progress through the cigar, it goes from pretty much non-existent in the very beginning, except for maybe a very, very subtle bit on the retrohale. The retrohale, that pepper strength picks up, but the pepper on the smoking experience definitely picks up as you progress along as well. Um, So let's give this a okay. Still getting that subtle hint of the chocolate. The coffee component is picked up a lot as you progress into it as well. It's kind of a I hesitate to use I don't like the word bitter because I feel as though that's kind of a negative connotation, but it's um it's kind of like if you were to get one of the little shots of like Cuban coffee or the espresso with like no sugar to it. So it's kind of a the black coffee espresso shot. It's got that strength and kind of I mean, for lack of a better term, bitterness to it, but it's good. That combined with that little subtle dark chocolate, baker's chocolate, and then that pepper component, it's making for a nice strong finish to the Blackbird Superb. The let's do a retro here. So we get the final hard retro hail. Yeah, that pepper component lingers in the nasal cavity and hangs out. It's definitely stronger in the back portion of the cigar than it was early, and definitely even at the halfway point, it's picked up a lot, even from the halfway point. Um, all right, so time to give this guy some scores. So, in terms of strength, um, it's definitely a medium to very light bold cigar. So I'm gonna say this probably settles for me somewhere in the 6.5 to 7 range. So just to screw with the strength of meter, I'm gonna give it a 6.5. But in terms of a score, I really enjoy it. This cigar presents some really nice flavors. Construction on this thing has been outstanding. I've had the window, down, and I've had it down for a lot when I'm not recording. When I record, I pull it back up a little bit to cut down on that wind noise. But my burn line, if you see, is just super tight. Um, the ash, if I were at home, I would trust it a lot more. It holds very, very well. Um, and you know, the the draw on it's been awesome. So I have nothing but great things to say about the construction of the Blackbird Superb. Um, that combined with the flavor and everything else, I got a guess there. It's like 30 cents cheaper at that station. I'll get it when I come back through. Um, the totality of this cigar, it adds up to a really nice experience. I feel like price point on this is also really nice. I don't know the MSRP off the top of my head, but knowing Blackbird, it's probably in the neighborhood of like a 12 to $13 Toro. It might be less. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head. But so for that price point, this smoked really, really nice as well. So I am going to give the Blackbird Superb um 93. I'm giving the Blackbird Superb a 93. It's all around wonderful smoke. I highly recommend it. Jonas and the team at Blackbird put together a really, really good cigar, and I highly recommend it. Guys, I do drive time reviews every Wednesday. They are available YouTube, Rumble, and TikTok. Make sure you check out the Cigar Pulpit podcast, available anywhere you can get podcasts every Tuesday and Friday. And, have some fun with us on the main show as well. Otherwise, guys, this has been the Blackbird Superb. I highly recommend it. I'm Nick. Everybody, stay safe and stay smoky.